What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some NBA single stat player props over on PrizePicks, or if you don't play on PrizePicks, maybe you're on one of the various sports betting websites. All the information in today's video will definitely help you out. We're going to be talking single stat points, assists, rebounds, and three-pointers made, so definitely stay tuned if you're into that sort of thing. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. There's still about 48% of you who watch these videos who haven't subscribed yet, and I'm not quite sure why. Last video I put out, we went 5 for 8 on our picks. The previous video, we went 6 for 8 on our picks, so we're looking to have some more continued success. So definitely hit subscribe, turn on notifications. I drop videos every single day, and I would hate for you to miss out on any of my content. Now, today's goal is going to be 30.5 likes. I'm taking the over on 30.5, meaning we've got to get 31 likes or more on today's video. And with our audience reaching almost 900 subscribers, I think we can definitely get there, no problemo. All right. With that in mind, now we've got 9 NBA games we got to talk about today, but before we get into any of the player props, we got to talk some injury news because there's some big ones floating out there and a lot in the land of the Boston Celtics. So Marcus Smart, he's dealing with an illness. He is uncertain for Monday for the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown, he is also dealing with an illness, but he has been cleared, so he should be taking the starting lineup for the Boston Celtics on Monday. Jason Tatum, he is not ill, but he is dealing with an ankle injury. He is going to be available for the Boston Celtics as they take on the Chicago Bulls, so that's good news for Boston fans. The 76ers, Seth Curry, is dealing with a hip injury. He is questionable for Monday, so they may be without one of their better shooters. Scrolling on down the line here, it looks like Bertans will be playing for the Washington Wizards on Monday. Not a big impactful news story there. Alex Len, ankle injury, questionable for Monday. Larry Nance dealing with some kind of personal issues. He is out on Monday, so that should be a boost to both Jarrett Allen and Kevin Love without Larry Nance in the lineup. Kelly Oubre dealing with a wrist injury. He's questionable for the Warriors on Monday. I can't say this guy's name, but I'm going to do my best. Doumbouya, concussion, out again on Monday for the Detroit Pistons. Here's a real big one. The Warriors' Steph Curry is dealing with an ankle injury. He's questionable for Monday, so we may not see their best player, Stephen Curry, in the lineup. Looks like the Pistons' Corey Joseph is dealing with an illness. He'll be out on Monday. The Nuggets' Monte Morris hamstring injury is out on Monday. So the Nuggets are pretty thin at guard right now. Obviously, Jamal Murray out for the season with that torn ACL. His backup, his replacement, Monte Morris, is going to miss Monday with a hamstring injury. But they did just sign Austin Rivers, so possibly you could see him join the Denver Nuggets and run some minutes tonight. It looks like the Grizzlies' Dylan Brooks is dealing with a thigh injury. He is questionable on Monday. A lot of news, guys. A lot of news here. Jazz, Mike Conley, knee is probable for Monday, so Mike Conley should be in the starting lineup for the Jazz. Rudy Gobert also dealing with a knee injury. He's probable. He should be in there on Monday as well. Let's see if there's anything else standing out. Jonas Valanciunas, concussion. He's going to be out for Memphis on Monday, so no Joe Val for the Memphis Grizzlies. That is a big, big one for them. That's going to probably do it. Kemba Walker, illness, questionable for Monday. It seems like there's an illness going around, a non-COVID related illness plaguing the Boston Celtics locker room. So that's another big one to look out for. Mason Plumlee, he's going to be rested. He's going to be out for Monday. Jeremy Grant, quad, he's out for Monday. So that's why you're seeing guys like Isaiah Stewart, Josh Jackson, Killian Hayes. Some of these guys get a bump up because there's a lot of guys out for the Detroit Pistons. Hachimura is out with a knee injury for the Washington Wizards on Monday. Tobias Harris is dealing with a knee injury. He's questionable for Monday. So, man, there is just a ton of injury news here. Boston, Robert Williams, knee out again on Monday. My goodness. All right, that's it. We're cutting it off there. As you can see, though, tons and tons of injury news. If you're a part of our Discord community, I'll leave a link down in the description of the video. Plus, you can go to the About section of this channel if that link doesn't work, because sometimes it doesn't work for some reason. But anyway, if you're a member of the Discord community, I have an NBA news channel in there, so keep an eye on that. All the latest news gets pumped directly into our Discord, makes it nice and easy for you guys to find. All right, so let's get into some of the props because, man, there was just way too much injury news. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Isaiah Stewart. We mentioned all the guys out for Detroit tonight. That means some minutes and some playing time will open up for someone like Isaiah Stewart. Now, I am liking the under on his 12.5 point prop. It looks like that, he is going to get more minutes, but I don't think that he's going to see a significant bump in his scoring output. Let's start things off, though, by looking at the game totals and the spread here. We've got 214 combined points up on the board, so a decent total, not great. I would like it more if it was up there around 230 points, but we're not dealing with two of the better teams in the NBA right here. Let's just call it what it is. Now, Detroit is a 3-point underdog at home, meaning this game should stay close, should stay competitive, and guys like Isaiah Stewart should get plenty of run. All right, with that in mind, we can do a little searchy search action here for Isaiah Stewart. We're using numberfire.com as a reference site. This site has great free projections for fantasy points, single stat points like real life points, assists, and rebounds. So we're going to take a look at Stewart here. We just type his name in. And I brought up this little search bar by doing Control F or Command F if you're on a Mac. And you can see when we type his name in here, the points column is already highlighted. 11.8 is his projected points total, which is fantastic if we're looking to take the under on Isaiah Stewart. So from there, we move to NBAcom /players. Now from here, we can type in Stewart's name. And I do another control click on his name. That opens up a new tab, and up comes Isaiah Stewart's player card. Now you can see that for the season, he is scoring 7.1 points per game, which is significantly lower than his 12.5 projected points tonight. But we do have to keep in mind with all the big names out, Mason Plumlee, Jeremy Grant, this front court really opens up for the Detroit Pistons. So Isaiah Stewart's scoring averages should go up. So what I just did here was click the traditional splits link, click advanced filters. Under this date range category, they have this little section called season segment. I changed that from all games to the last 5 games so we could see how he's been scoring in recent games and get a better idea on Isaiah Stewart. Now you can see that in his last 5 games, he's appeared in all 5, 11.4 points per game. So still under 12.5. The under looking like a good way to go so far. Now, finally, the last stop we have here is Rotowire.com, and they have a fantastic little NBA player props section, which makes it nice and easy for us to research some of these single stat player props. So we are already on the points category. All we have to do from here is begin typing in Isaiah Stewart's name, and up he comes. Now, DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got him at 12.5 points, just like PrizePicks, but we're not really seeing any juice over or under on that prop to this point. The only other one that has a prop up for him is going to be FanDuel, and their sportsbook has him at 12.5. People are taking the under. He is a minus 118 to go under 12.5 points. So this one's a little bit cloudy, a little bit murky for me, just because we haven't seen a whole ton of Isaiah Stewart this season. But with the game totals being relatively low, with Isaiah Stewart averages for the last 5 games and looking at how he's setting up here on the various sports books, I'm going to probably stick to taking the under on Isaiah Stewart. He'll have a pretty tough matchup against Jarrett Allen and company tonight. So this could be a game where he struggles a little bit. All right, with him in the books, we're going to talk the other side of this game, and more specifically, Kevin Love, who is at 13.5 actual points. Again, they're taking on the Detroit Pistons. Game tips off at 7:10 p.m. Kevin Love should have a pretty comfy, cozy matchup. Again, no Mason Plumlee, no Jeremy Grant. Who really stands in the way of Kevin Love tonight? Is it Isaiah Stewart? I don't think so. I don't think they really have anybody who can match up with Kevin Love. So at 13.5 points, I'm looking to take the over on Kevin Love. So let's start back at numberfire, and we'll type in Kevin Love's name. And there's only one Love that I know of in the NBA, and that's Kevin. And at 14 points, that puts him in a good position to go over his projection of 13.5 real-life points. So far the over looking pretty darn good here. I do like the fact that the spread is just 3 points, meaning that guys like Kevin Love should get a full run of minutes if the game stays close. Of course, I've already mentioned no Larry Nance tonight, so even more minutes should open up here for Kevin Love as he continues to work his way back into a full run, full complement of minutes for him. So for the season, you can see his scoring is not great. 11.2 points per game. Of course, he's missed a large chunk of the season, a majority of the season. He has sat out. He's no spring chicken, 32 years old, as you can see there. And he's getting a little bit older, a little bit long in the tooth, but I think Kevin Love can still get it done. So let's click the stats tab. Here's the traditional splits link. We click on that. And then from there, we go advanced filters, change it from all games to 5 games, and hit run. And let's see how Kevin Love's been doing in terms of his minutes, how many points he's been getting, and so on. So he's appeared in all 5 of his last 5 games. He's averaging a little over 26 minutes per game. And you can see that his scoring output is very good, 14.6 points. Now, I say very good. That's relative to where he's projected at 13.5 points tonight, meaning he's like 1.1 more points per game over his projection tonight against Detroit. And I've already mentioned that Detroit's best front court players will be out. So soft, cushy, cozy matchup here for Kevin Love. All right, with that in the books, we can move over to Rotowire where we type in Kevin Love's name. And at 13.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can see that he is a minus 125 to go over 13.5 points. Loving what I'm seeing there. The juice is also flowing on the over at FanDuel Sportsbook at 13.5 points. People are taking the over there as well. If we scroll on over to BetMGM, 13.5 points. People are taking the over. He's a minus 120. And finally, PointsBet, 13.5 points. People are taking the over there as well. A good minus 125, a pretty healthy over. So all in all, guys, I think this is setting up for a great spot for Kevin Love to go over 13.5 points. The game total's not super high, but the spread is close. Kevin Love should get plenty of minutes, 26 or more, not out of the question. And on top of that, his averages in his last 5 games exceed 13.5 points. Another reason to go for the over. We've already talked about how it's going to be a soft matchup. Loving this matchup. I don't really see anybody from Detroit getting in Kevin Love's way tonight. And last but not least, Vegas. It looks like everything is flowing in the right direction for Kevin Love to go over 13.5 points. Love the way that those bets are rolling in for Love. So I'm taking the over on Kevin Love at 13.5. Now, with those points props out of the way, we can talk assists. And the first guy I want to mention is going to be Domantas Sabonis, the Indiana Pacers big man. Now, 5.5 assists just doesn't seem like quite enough of a number for Domantas Sabonis. I think there's a good chance he can dish out 6 or more assists in this game. Of course, if you've ever seen him in the NBA All-Star Skills Challenge, he can handle the ball, he can pass the ball, he does a little bit of everything for this Indiana Pacers team. So let's take a look at Domantas Sabonis and his projection for the assists today. So we highlight the assist column. And before we dig in there, we're going to take a look at the game totals and the spread for this one. And you can see that this Indiana-San Antonio game has a 230.5 point total. And the spread is just 1 point. So guys, I think that this is making a lot of sense here to go over on Domantas Sabonis. I love the fact that the totals are 230 plus points and the spread is so close. Sabonis should be playing big time minutes and get plenty of run in this game. All right, so with that in mind, let's do a search for Sabonis. Type in his name here, and then you can see his projected assists over on NumberFire are 6.3 assists, putting him over 5.5. We just need him to drop 6 or more dimes, and we will make some money on Domantas Sabonis. So that is looking very good. Loving the way that's shaping up. We'll type in his name on NBA.com. Again, control-click his name, brings up a new tab for us, and you can see that for the season, he is assisting at a 6.0 assists per game average. So definitely, once again, favoring the over on Domantas Sabonis. So let's click his stats and go into his last 5 games and take a look at how things have been shaping up for him in recent situations here. So we'll click run. All right, and then you can see that there's no change. In his last 5 games, he is still dropping 6 dimes per game. So I think 6 assists is a very safe number here, a safe result. We should expect him to have at least 6 assists in this matchup because he's pretty darn consistent if you haven't noticed. So then back to Rotowire we go. They've got a little toolbar across the bottom that has all the different single stat props. I just clicked assist and it shot me right over to where I want to be. So very handy there, very helpful. Now you can see on the various sports books, DraftKings does not have any kind of single stat assist prop for Sabonis up, nor does BetMGM, but we can look at FanDuel, and at FanDuel, they've got him at 5.5. He's a minus 134 for the over. Loving the action there. And then finally, PointsBet at 5.5 assists. They're taking the over as well, so I am also really liking the over on the 5.5 assist prop here for Sabonis. So I'm not flip-flopping on this one. I'm sticking to my guns. Domantas Sabonis over 5.5 assists. Lock it in. I'm liking it. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about for assists is going to be Chris Paul. Now, he has been pretty rock solid in terms of where PrizePicks sets his assists up on a day in, day out basis. 8.5 assists. I've seen him put up there pretty much every day at 8.5 assists. So let's see if there's any edge to be had here with Chris Paul and this assist number. My initial gut reaction is to go under, but we know Chris Paul is a legend in terms of point guards, especially past first point guards. So there's a good shot here that Chris Paul could definitely go over 8.5. So we're going to have to investigate and research a little bit further. All right. So first thing is the game totals. Now, this game has a ton of implied points, 232.5 implied points. We're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks. They're a -3, meaning there is a 3-point spread, and the Bucks are favorited to win this game, but by a slim margin. So game should stay close, competitive, and be high scoring. All the makings of lots of real life points, lots of assists, rebounds, 3-point makes. So going over actually would make a lot of sense in a game like this, the way that it's shaping up. So a little scary to take the under on Chris Paul in this 8.5 assist number, but we're going to do a little search here, and we're going to find Chris Paul's name. And you can see at this 8.5 assist number, he is projected at 8.1 over on NumberFire. So it's a close, slim margin, 8.1 versus 8.5, but the under is still looking like a viable way to go here on CP3. So let's type in Chris Paul's name, and we'll do a little control click on him. And as you can see, a new tab pops up, nice and handy for us. For the season, he is staying under 9 assists. Now, that's what we need for him tonight. We need him to stay under 9 assists, 8 assists or less. But I'll put it into a different perspective for you. So if you take 8 and you take 9 and put them on a spectrum, more often than not, he is leaning more toward 9 assists than he is 8 assists. And that's where this 8.5 number becomes very, very tricky. So feeling a little concerned here that he can stay under 8.5 assists. We're going to look at his last 5 games and see how his assist numbers stack up. So let's run that little report. And you can see that he has appeared in all 5 of his last 5 games. And in that time frame, he is dishing out 9.2 dimes. So he has been going over 8.5 assists in his last 5. So this is looking more and more murky for me. That's why I do these videos, because I want to dig in a little deeper on some of these guys and these player props and see if they make any sense at all. Now, we're going to do one last little look here and type in Chris Paul's name and check out the various sports books. Not really seeing any action on DraftKings Sportsbook. They are tied up over there at -113 on the under and 113 on the over. On FanDuel Sportsbook, people are taking the over there though, or taking the under there though, at a -120 on the under. Same thing for BetMGM, 118 on the under. And finally, PointsBet, again, we are at a standstill, a gridlock of sorts. Not seeing any action over or under on this 8.5 assist prop. So, looking a little questionable for me on Chris Paul. Guys, I would probably fade this one based on the evidence, based on the things that I'm seeing here. He's been dropping dimes regularly. The game totals are high. The spread is close. Not really seeing any clear-cut action out on Vegas over or under. So Chris Paul and 8.5 assists, although I did initially want to take the under, now I'm just going to step away and not take this one at all. I'm going to leave this one to somebody else to try and figure out. I'm not interested. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at 3-point makes. And I'm going to go to Chris Paul's teammate first here, which is Devin Booker. And Devin Booker is projected at 2.5 3-point makes against this Milwaukee Bucks team. Of course, we've already talked game totals are pretty doggone high for this one. So yeah, going under on anyone is a little uncomfortable, a little questionable. So let's take a look at Devin Booker here. We're going to type his name in. let's see what kind of results we've been getting from Devin Booker as far as 3-point makes for the season, 3-point makes in his last 5 games, and hopefully it'll help us paint a better picture here and see what Devin Booker's been doing from beyond the arc. Now for the season, he averages exactly two 3-point makes, and that's on nearly 6 attempts per game. So that is a good number for us to take an under so far, because we want him to make just 2 or less 3-pointers. If he makes 3 and we take the under, we're dead in the water, basically. So knowing that, we can click advanced filters, changing this from all games to just his last 5 games. Let's see if his 3-point makes are trending up or trending down recently. And you can see that in his last 5 games, his 3-point makes are actually trending down. While he's attempting more 3-pointers per game than he has for the season, his makes are actually going in the wrong direction. They're going down. So he's been under 2 3-point makes in his last 5 games, averaging 1.8. So that's looking very good. His season average for makes is below 2.5. His last 5 game average for 3-point makes is also below 2.5 and trending down. So loving that for Devin Booker here. And we got to click the 3-point category before we start doing any kind of search in here. We type in Devin Booker's name, and at 2.5 makes, people are taking the under on DraftKings Sportsbook. Loving the way that that's looking. FanDuel, again, smashing the under on 2.5 makes at a -138. BetMGM, an even bigger position on the under, -143. And finally, PointsBet at a -140. People are nailing the under on this Devin Booker 2.5 3-point prop. So all in all, guys, I think it's a green light go on Devin Booker under 2.5 3-point makes. The only concern I have is that the game is a high scoring game and the spread is close, meaning that there should be a lot more points scored, and all the starters, including Devin Booker, should be out there for a full run of minutes. And so that's a little bit concerning for me. But Milwaukee is a pretty tough team out on the perimeter defensively. Maybe they will read the scouting report and stay in Devin Booker's jersey all night and not let him get too many 3-point makes off. So there you go. Devin Booker, under 2.5 3-point makes. Let's stick with it. Now, the next and very last guy that I want to talk about in terms of 3-point props is Nikola Vucevic. Now, 2.5 3-point makes seems kind of high for him. That just implies that if you're going to take the over on Nikola Vucevic, you're expecting him to make 3 3-pointers. And I just don't think he gets there, which leads me to want to take the under here and hope that he just sticks at 2 3-point makes or less. So let's dig in and look at Nikola Vucevic and see if the under does in fact make the most sense. So we type his name in on NBA.com. Up comes a new tab. We'll click stats. And then from there, we'll click traditional splits. And once that loads up, you can see that for the season, he is attempting 6.3 3-point shots per game. And on that 6.3 attempts, he is making 2.6 3-pointers per game. Now, we have to keep in mind that obviously Nikola Vucevic spent most of this season with the Orlando Magic. He is now a Chicago Bull. So these season averages might be a little bit skewed. Now that's where the last 5 game averages come into play. So we'll switch that over to his last 5, click run it, and we'll see what happens here. Now, surprisingly, he is actually making more 3-pointers in his last 5 games than he has for the season. His attempts are at 6 per game. His makes are up to 3.2, which puts him in a good position to go over this 2.5 3-point prop. So it's looking a little dicey here. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I'm loving the under on Nikola Vucevic after seeing what I'm seeing, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to finish things up by typing in his name. And on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can see that the juice, well, it's kind of dried up. We're not really seeing any action under or over on this prop. Same thing goes for FanDuel. Under, over, gridlocked at a -113. No prop available on BetMGM. But the final site we have here is PointsBet. At 2.5 3-point makes, they are taking the under at -120. So if you think that Nikola Vucevic can continue to make 3 3-pointers or more, well, don't take the under. Maybe you take the over in this situation. If it were me, gun to head, I am taking the under on Nikola Vucevic and hoping that he doesn't make 3 3-pointers. Of course, Zach LaVine is out, so there will be more usage, more shot attempts probably for Vooch than there has been with Zach LaVine in the lineup. But man, 3 3-point makes seems like a lot. But of course, Vucevic in his last 5-game averages, he's proven that he can definitely do it. So there you have it. That's the final prop of the day. What do you guys think? Is there anybody in today's video that's really standing out to you? Is there any names that I talked about that you're really loving? Which prop is your favorite? Leave a comment down in the comment section below, or maybe there's somebody I didn't get a chance to talk about and you like them and maybe you want to put me on a play or put the rest of the community on a play. Leave that person's name and that prop in the comment section below too. That's going to do it for today, guys. My name's CJ. This has been Out of Bounds DFS. Good luck tonight. I hope you all win some money over on PrizePicks or the various sports betting websites that you play on. Until the next video, peace out.